It's time to talk about what lies beneath. I mean, what lies ahead. I mean, what lies below. What is up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to my channel. Normally reviewing Netflix originals. This isn't technically an original. It's a film that dropped in December, but it did just come out on Netflix. I watched it, so I want to talk about it. Let's do it. So a 16-year-old girl returns home from camp and learns that her mother has a new boyfriend, one she intends to marry, a man whose charm, intelligence, and beauty make him look like he's not human at all. Little tease there. Normally these reviews are spoiler-free. I'm going to do mild spoilers, one since it's been out overall for so long and on Netflix since Friday, two because, I mean, how do you talk about this movie and the frustrations that I had throughout without hitting on just a few plot points? Won't spoil the ending, but Emma Horvath plays our main character, who is supposed to be 16 in this movie. Now, she's 27 in real life. She doesn't even look, not even close to 16 in the film. But I said to myself, you know, they used to do this all the time in the early 2000s. Fine, we'll accept it. What's the story about? So she comes home, and her mom, who is always calling her baby girl, I mean, like constantly throughout the beginning of the film, says to her, I've got a new boyfriend, and you're going to get a chance to meet him. And essentially, the film is focusing on their conversations, their interactions, and, you know, the guy comes on screen, and obviously, and a lot of people are going to say, he's a good-looking guy. He seems like the perfect boyfriend. But there's this slow discovery, something that's going on in the background, and something that makes him stand out as maybe not the guy that they both thought he was at the beginning. And, yeah, right off the bat, he's kind of creepy, right? He appears, he gives her a bracelet, and we have no clue, and they have no clue as to what he's talking about, you know, whether it be saving the world, doing what he does, his job that we can't quite get a read on at the beginning. He says he's one thing, but we keep discovering things about him that say, no, maybe he's up to something different. But, like her mom says, he's a good-looking guy. So we just don't mind it as much. And even at one point, he's talking about something. She's like, I have no clue what he's talking about. But isn't he just the nicest and the sweetest? It's almost like he has this charm, this spell over her mother, because her mother begins to lash out and act out when her daughter is bringing up some fairly good points. Isn't this guy doing some weird stuff? How about exhibit A, B, and C? But her mother just doesn't want to listen. And all throughout the movie, it's this back and forth. And I'm looking at the genres. This is supposed to be a horror. It's also supposed to be a mystery, and there are definitely elements of a mystery here, but we're supposed to feel scared. And while there are a few pieces of imagery toward the end, and the third act especially, when you actually get to see what was behind this at the start, yeah, I guess there's some moments, but most of the film is her walking through a hallway hearing noises. Now, some of the noises, I mean, you know, it's not the kind of noises that you're going to be watching with your kids, but some of the other noises, they bring up some very good questions that, again, her mother just doesn't want to listen to. It's this slow buildup of something else that never quite gets the payoff, unfortunately, that the film is going for. And at the end of the third act, I was sitting kind of scratching my head saying, was that it? I mean, we never discover what his true intentions were. We can get an idea. We can understand that there's a goal here that we could probably figure out, but it's all just a guess because, again, you never get the answers to all of your questions. We never get the true intentions behind his actions. And when I look at a movie that's put together in that way, when for 2 acts, it's just giving us this girl who's supposed to be 16 walking down a hallway, and then these strange interactions. There's one scene on a boat. There's one scene where she sees him go into a lake all throughout. Sure, it's creepy, but it wasn't good creepy. It was just kind of, oh, well, let's see where this goes. It all came down to what answers I got for my questions. I can look past some of the mediocre acting. I can look past some of the cringeworthy dialogue that we get. I can look past some of the character cliches. There's one moment where another character comes in, a friend, and you immediately know what's going to happen. Immediately. The predictability is off the charts with this film, except for the main motivations behind our good-looking guy who just, we never get the answers for. And I was so frustrated. I mean, I want to know, am I alone here, right? You could have watched this and enjoyed it for what it was. Absolutely. And I do think there's some charm and some entertainment within that. But when you're sitting there asking so many questions and complaining about the lines of dialogue, and then you don't get a payoff, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I can't sit here and say I like this movie because there just wasn't anything to sit on. And imagery, yes. The color palette, I guess. But beyond that, it's just cliched characters, predictable moments, and some freaky stuff. And again, for what the movie's supposed to be, like this B-level horror film, I don't mind a lot of these things. Just give me something here. So it features an interesting enough setup, but the lack of payoff keeps it from thriving. If you guys enjoy this review, let me know. My score is a 40%. I couldn't get on board with this. I tried, and I understand it's that kind of movie. You got to kind of turn your brain off, and there's a point, and I just couldn't get past that point. But that doesn't mean you guys have to agree with me. I want to know, what'd you think about it? Please discuss down below. Fill me in. I can't really fill you in on some of these answers. And let me know if this is the kind of movie that you enjoy. If you liked this Netflix review, I want to do more of these films that aren't Netflix originals that come and just kind of talk about. So let me know. Drop that thumbs up down below, and I'll see you soon.